Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we're going to go over some player predictions. We're going to kind of start going through each and every player and kind of getting our predictions of what we think they will do this upcoming year, including stats, maybe awards if they might win one, and all of that. And we'll start off with Shea today. We're also going to talk about the chances of Chet winning a Defensive Player of the Year this upcoming year. We'll also dive into our offseason and trade rumor stuff, and then we'll wrap up the video kind of giving you the week in review at the end like we always do on our Fridays. But first up, talking about Shea and what to kind of expect from Shea in this upcoming year. We know that this past season was about as perfect of a season as you can get from a player. You get the scoring title, MVP, finals MVP, the title, all of that. You're now the cover of the 2K game. You have all this. You're getting new shoe deals. You got shoes selling out in less than minutes when they go live and all that. So for Shea, it's really hard to have much of a better season. So what do you kind of expect from Shea, and what should we expect from him in this upcoming season? We know that over the past 3 years, he's averaged over 30 in each one of those seasons. So until we see a significant fall off, I think we should all expect Shea to be right around that 30 to 32 point average in the foreseeable future. He's only 28. He's in his prime. There's no signs of him slowing down. If we want to be realistic, he's gotten better every single year. If we want to be realistic about it, he can go up and start averaging 32 now. Obviously, that might not happen with just how deep the Thunder are and everybody having to share the ball. Really, maybe Shea doesn't get to that 32-point average, but there will be games where, and stretches throughout the year, where he will average well over 32. He might have a couple of 40 bombs in there. I don't think we might not see a 50 bomb. Shea's just not one of those guys that will go out of his way to try to score that much. He still wants to get his guys involved and make sure that everybody's getting a little piece of the action more than just him. I mean, the biggest performance for him over the last season was the Detroit Pistons game where he went off for 45 and it felt like he just couldn't miss, and that's kind of one of those games that we're talking about. But for this upcoming season, I feel like he's definitely going to be in the top 3 of MVP voting once again. As long as he's at the peak of his game, it's going to be him, Jokic, Giannis, and Luka. And we might see a Wemby in there as well this upcoming year, depending on what he does. But I still think he's a year away, and the Spurs are a year away from him really them being that good enough to where he's in consideration for that MVP. So he's going to be in the talks for MVP all year. He's most likely going to make an All-NBA first team. And you just have to kind of look at this. Does he make an all-defensive team? Does he lead the league in steals? Because we know Shea can go out there and average 2 steals a night and is still one of the better defenders in the league. His defense gets overshadowed by how good the Thunder are defensively with guys like Caruso, Dort, Chet, and all those guys that are more defensive first, where Shea's score first, but he's still a very good defender. So for me, you should expect another 30-plus point per game average, around 6 points, 6 assists, which honestly, if we're being honest, I think we could very well see Shea's assist numbers go up this season, and maybe that average dip to the lower 30s. Maybe you see a slight dip in average, but maybe another assist average where you're averaging 7 assists, because we've seen him talk about how he wants to develop that playmaking game where he's getting better at passing. So it becomes just another added piece to his bag of where he can get guys involved and also allow the other team's defense to worry about more when he has the ball in the hand than just rather scoring. Because we know that at some point, Shea, at some points throughout this past season, he wasn't that great at passing, and you could kind of see it defenses took advantage of it, and they kind of relied on him making the bad pass. But hopefully we'll see those numbers improve as this season goes on, and hopefully he's improving the assist numbers. Maybe he can get up to that 7 assist average. But now we'll kind of transition into talking about what the chances are of Chet Holmgren winning Defensive Player of the Year. And we were all big into the fact that he could have won Defensive Player of the Year this past year if he didn't get injured. We obviously had the Wembanyama injury, and It will most likely be the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year for the next decade until somebody can prove him wrong or he just can't stay healthy. And for Chet, it's going to be a big deal of staying healthy, like we always talk about with Chet. The number one thing is he has to stay healthy. And for Chet, I think it also goes to the fact of not only averaging around 3 blocks, because I think you'll need to average around 2.5, 3 blocks to be in that conversation with Wemby, Mobley, Gobert, all those types of guys. I think if Chet can go out there and maybe get a steal, if he can work on maybe getting the steals out there, maybe get a steal and a half a game, and really just continue to prove why he's one of the best rim protectors in the league, I think he has a very good chance. I think it depends a lot on how good the Thunder's defense is in general and what Chet can put up in those numbers. But I think it's going to be very hard to beat Wemby. As if Wemby can stay healthy, it feels like he will just continue to be the favorite in Defensive Player of the Year. And the problem is with how people are with Wemby, if Chet has the same averages, say they both average just around 3 blocks, around a steal, maybe a steal and a half, most people are going to lean towards Wemby because he's going to be bigger. People are going to go towards that side of let's give Wemby his first Defensive Player of the Year and get him on that trajectory. So I think for Chet, if he wants to have that consideration of being the Defensive Player of the Year and beating out a guy like Wemby, I think he needs at least around a little bit close to a half a block more than him, and if he can get a half a steal more than him, I think that'll be enough to persuade voters. I'm not sure if Chet will be able to do it this season because I just feel like Wemby will stay healthy and clinch his first Defensive Player of the Year. But in the next 2 to 3 years, I have no doubt that I can see Chet going out there averaging 3 blocks, a steal and a half, and getting a Defensive Player of the Year. But now we'll kind of transition into talking about our offseason trade and rumor stuff. And this is a guy who I kind of looked up, and once I saw some things on it, I really think this would be a great move for both teams. And I'm talking about Pat Connaughton on the Bucks. We know the Bucks are the oldest team in the league, one of, if not the oldest team in the league. You have Giannis, who's still a top 3-4 player in the world. And for the Bucks, if you can go to the Thunder and the Thunder get Pat Connaughton, a guy who we know can shoot the ball well, another great defensive guy, and a great role player to bring off the bench. And really, the main reason for him being there would be as another shooter. For the Bucks, you can really turn your team around and get some younger guys from the Thunder. Maybe it's an Ousmane Dieng. Maybe you get a Topic out of it. I don't know if we would give up Topic for Pat Connaughton, but maybe an Isaiah Joe or Kenrich Williams. You can get a couple guys and maybe ask for a couple second-round picks, because for the Bucks, the picks will be the most valuable thing because they need to get picks accumulated for when this team is going to be so old and they're going to have to restart. And for this, I think it could really work out for both teams. The Bucks get off an older veteran guy like Pat Connaughton. We can bring him over. He can make an instant impact on a championship team. And for the Bucks, you get a couple guys, maybe a pick or two, to kind of make your team a bit more youthful and get more athleticism, whether it's an Ousmane Dieng out there who is going to have size, which the Bucks like a lot. He can run the 3 next to Giannis, and they just have massive guys out there that can really make a difference, and Ousmane Dieng can kind of show off what he's capable of in a weaker Eastern Conference. So this is a guy who I really think the Thunder could make a big move after, and I would be interested to see what a trade package would look like for that. You guys would have to let me know down below what you guys think a trade package-esque would look for a guy like Pat Connaughton. And now we'll just kind of wrap up the video talking about the week in review of Thunder news. And the big thing from this week in Thunder news, if you have not been aware, that Thomas Sorber tore his ACL and he will be out for the entire 2026 season. So another big blow for the Thunder, but we've seen it before. We've seen it with Chet get injured before his rookie year. We saw it with Topic last year, and now Sorber's going to do the same thing. It feels like Sam Presti has something going on right there, but for Sorber, it's going to be getting healthy, getting all that NBA training and recovery and all that going, so where he is available for the Thunder next year when they probably don't pick up Isaiah Hartenstein. But we'll just continue to dive deep more and more about the Thomas Sorber stuff as we get closer to training camp. And once again, we'll do the player predictions on our way throughout the rest of the off season. Towards the end, we'll start getting our way to early predictions for the West, all of that stuff, and kind of get the season get going again, because we're about a month away from really preseason going, and then about a month and a half away from opening night and the ring ceremony for the Thunder. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.